Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream from Synapse Care Solutions. It is week 1 in our new series for December called Silent Night. We're going to focus on a holiday theme, and to start us out, we are going to have a presentation by Mary Coughlin, who is going to share with us all about infant sleep and the importance of sleep. But then she takes it a step further and shares with us also the importance of sleep for our own health as healthcare providers, and even for the health and emotional benefits of that for our families in the NICU as well. So I hope that you'll enjoy this presentation. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button right here on our YouTube channel. Help us get more subscribers so that we can bring you more free content. If you would like to get some of the slides and resources from this month's live stream, we have a series of 4 presentations for you. Go ahead and either scan the QR code here on this screen or click the link in the show notes below so that you can get access to those resources and email reminders of when all of our presentations are released. So without further ado, I hope that you enjoy this first presentation in our series of Silent Night with Mary Coughlin, talking all about the science and the benefits and the importance of sleep for all of us, for babies, for staff, and for parents. So I hope that you enjoy it, and I'll see you at the end. Our next presentation is Miss Mary Coughlin McNeil, better known as Mary Coughlin. And Mary Coughlin is an inspirational speaker, motivational coach, and transformational consultant with a clinical background that spans over 30 years. Mary is a leader in the field of neonatal nursing, an internationally recognized expert in the field of trauma-informed, age-appropriate care in the NICU. And she has many books and articles, as we heard earlier from Sharon, under her belt, and she's currently the president and founder of Caring Essentials Collaborative. So I count her as one of my closest friends. We get to chat often, and I'm so glad that she is here with you. And I just assign her topics, and she always rises to the occasion. And so this topic is one that I know she's very passionate about, and she's put some new spins on it. So I'm excited to hear it. So welcome, Mary.
Okay, hi everybody. I am just so wicked excited and honored to have this opportunity to speak to you guys at the end of today and tomorrow as well. So I'm just trying to bring my HPA axis down. I know this is so goofy that I get nervous every time I speak, but I do get nervous every time I speak, so hopefully this will pass. And this subject, although I just need to find my thingamajiggy, is near and dear to my heart. Putting a different spin on it, as Kathy requires you to do, it was a bit of a challenge. And I don't want to disappoint you guys, so hopefully you find this information interesting. Ask lots of questions. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started, okay? All right. A couple disclaimers. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I've been told I have a bit of an accent. If it bothers you, there's nothing I can do about it, okay? Just buckle up, buttercup. So Kathy invited me to talk about this idea of sleep and what it means for not just the babies, but I'm also going to talk about just in general, what does sleep mean for us as adults, the implications for us as shift workers, also the implications of sleep and sleep deprivation on the parents that we're serving, and then we'll wrap up with the babies, okay? Okay, you're all just so nice and smiley. This is so lovely, okay. So these are my learning objectives. Hopefully I hit them all. And we'll kick off with a video.
We certainly know that a lack of sleep will actually prevent your brain from being able to initially make new memories. So it's almost as though without sleep, the memory inbox of the brain shuts down and you can't commit new experiences to memory. So those new incoming informational emails are just bounced and you end up feeling as though you're amnesic. You can't essentially make and create those new memories. We also know that a lack of sleep will lead to an increased development of a toxic protein in the brain that is called beta amyloid. And that is associated with Alzheimer's disease because it is during deep sleep at night when a sewage system within the brain actually kicks into high gear and it starts to wash away this toxic protein, beta amyloid. So if you're not getting enough sleep each and every night, more of that Alzheimer's related protein will build up. The more protein that builds up, the greater your risk of going on to develop dementia in later life. What are the effects of sleep deprivation on the body? Well, there are many different effects. Firstly, we know that sleep deprivation affects the reproductive system. We know that men who are sleeping just 5 to 6 hours a night have a level of testosterone which is that of someone 10 years their senior. So a lack of sleep will age you by almost a decade in terms of that aspect of virility and wellness. We also know that a lack of sleep impacts your immune system. So after just one night of 4 to 5 hours of sleep, there is a 70% reduction in critical anti-cancer fighting immune cells called natural killer cells. And that's the reason that we know that short sleep duration predicts your risk for developing numerous forms of cancer. And that list currently includes cancer of the bowel, cancer of the prostate, as well as cancer of the breast. In fact, the link between a lack of sleep and cancer is now so strong that recently the World Health Organization decided to classify any form of nighttime shift work as a probable carcinogen. So in other words, jobs that may induce cancer because of a disruption of your sleep-wake rhythms. We also know that a lack of sleep impacts your cardiovascular system, because it is during deep sleep at night that you receive this most wonderful form of effectively blood pressure medication. Your heart rate drops, your blood pressure goes down. If you're not getting sufficient sleep, you're not getting that reboot of the cardiovascular system. So your blood pressure rises. You have, if you're getting 6 hours of sleep or less, a 200% increased risk of having a fatal heart attack or a stroke in your lifetime. There is a global experiment that is performed on 1.6 billion people twice a year, and it's called daylight savings time. And we know that in the spring, when we lose 1 hour of sleep, we see a subsequent 24% increase in heart attacks the following day. Another question perhaps is, what is the recycle rate of a human being? How long can we actually last without sleep before we start to see declines in your brain function or even impairments within your body? And the answer seems to be about 16 hours of wakefulness. Once you get past 16 hours of being awake, that's when we start to see mental deterioration and physiological deterioration in the body. We know that after you've been awake for 19 or 20 hours, your mental capacity is so impaired that you would be as deficient as someone who is legally drunk behind the wheel of a car. So if you were to ask me what is the recycle rate of a human being, it does seem to be about 16 hours, and we need about 8 hours of sleep to repair the damage of wakefulness. Wakefulness essentially is low-level brain damage.
When I first saw that video, I was blown away. I had known some of the information, but when you're sitting down and you're focused on it, and I think about when I was a bedside nurse or a nurse practitioner, and I would work double shifts. I'd work 16 hours, and over the course of a week, you could work more than 40, right? You could easily work more than 40 hours a week, and not even give it a second thought that I was really adversely impacting my health or wellness. I had heard the information about driving tired is equivalent to driving drunk. I had heard that kind of stuff. But that's not me. I can still drive home after a double shift when I've done an evening, night, a double kind of a thing. And you think you're going home, you think you're alert, and then you pull into your driveway and you're like, geez, I don't remember the ride thing. And so I thought that this was really an interesting way of kicking off this topic, since we're going to be talking about this idea of sleep and its importance for the clinician, for the parent, as well as the baby. And these are cumulative effects, okay? It's not like you work one double shift and you're doomed. That's not what they're really trying to say. But it's accumulative over time. But the thing that's really annoying about this is how incredibly insidious it is. So, and sleep is one of those things. I think of it like skin, which I know sounds really weird, but you're in somebody's face all the time, right? Everyone knows, everyone has skin, it's their thing. And because it's so in your face, we underplay or downplay the incredibly important role that it plays in our day-to-day life. You don't even think about it, right? Who thinks about how you feel or how you touch or how anything affects you? And the same thing with sleep. You think, I can suck it up. It's okay. It's just a night, you know. I mean, we had to go. It was a great party, you know, or all these other different things. And I think what this subject really brought to me is really being mindful of how those insidious cumulative epochs of sleep deprivation really can derail my healthy development. Now, as a kid, you think, no big deal. As a young nurse, I thought I was invincible, nothing's going to happen, I'm fine. And then over time, you start working with colleagues, and I was a night shift nurse for a long time, and I know colleagues who had issues with cancer. And I never made the connections. It was just like, oh, that's really bad, but I never made these connections. Now, is it a direct line? No, it's multifactorial, but to think that it's a contributing factor, I think really should raise our awareness about how we need to approach our own sleep, but also be able to recognize sleep challenges or sleep compromise in our colleagues, in family, and the people that we serve. You okay with that? And so I thought, well, this is a cool way of really kind of highlighting, again, bringing everybody back to my core competency, these ideas of the core measures. And most recently, when we rewind. So when we first developed the core measures back in 2008, and they were first published in 2009 with the brilliant Sharon Gibbons and the late Stephen Hoth, we were looking at a way of categorizing disease-independent best practices. And so we did this exhaustive literature search and came up with these themes in the literature, which we then organized like thus, right? So protected sleep is a big deal. And these are all, when I generally speak of these, I'm speaking with regards to neonatal disease-independent practices, but I've been working with a group of grown-up clinicians to translate these into adult best practices because they're relevant across the continuum. I mean, no matter where you are in your life, right, sleep's important, family's important, right, your environment's important, and that sort of thing. So it seemed appropriate that this idea of protected sleep for the neonate is apropos for adults as well. And what does it look like? It looks very similar to the neonate. Right? We look at protecting sleep. It's doing supportive activities that support my sleep health. It's involving my family in my sleep, like telling everybody else in the house, lights out after 10, no potties because I can't sleep. Or telling the person that you're sharing a bed with, you're hogging all the covers, I need some of the covers so I can go to sleep. So it's creating that environment. And this is what we do for our babies too, but we just don't think about it for ourselves. And so in looking at the literature, this term in the sleep, it's called the sleep journal. Sleep, it's not the journal, it's sleep, but it's a journal. And they, of course, they talk exhaustively about sleep and sleep medicine and the physiology of sleep. And one of the things that I thought was remarkable is that the commentary that despite our knowledge and our understanding about the incredibly important role of sleep, we still are not very well versed on a lot of the neurohumoral and neurophysiological phenomenon to the details that are associated with sleep. We just know it's wicked important, and we go backwards. We look at the negative effects of not having enough sleep to kind of then through the back door inform us that, well, then it must be really important because we don't want these bad things to happen. And so how they define sleep health. See this first red box? These are the dimensions of sleep health. And so I'll start from the bottom. So it's about the duration of your sleep. How many hours do you get a night? Now, I'm just going to focus on grown-ups right now, okay? So just think to yourselves, and I'm going to have you actually do a little quiz as we progress through the slides. How many hours of sleep do you get a night? Or a day if you're a night shift worker? How many hours in a 24-hour period of sleep do you get? What's the efficiency of that sleep? And when they use the word efficiency, what they're talking about is how long does it take you to fall asleep? And if you get aroused during the night, are you able to easily fall back asleep? And lots of folks struggle with this. So efficiency is another kind of parameter that defines your sleep health or the quality of your sleep, obviously. The timing of your sleep. When do you go to sleep? When is the best time for you to sleep? And then flipping over to look at the benefits then of that quality of sleep. How alert do you feel during the day? Do you feel refreshed when you wake up? So think about all these things because there is a quiz, okay? Do you feel satisfied? So everybody this month, we had a wicked awesome day yesterday, lots of brainiacal stuff. I think we're going to struggle with some sleep tonight because my wheels are spinning like crazy. But we need to get some sleep. So you guys reflect. After yesterday, with all the stimulation you had, did you get a good night's sleep? Do you never get a good night's sleep? Just think about these things. And then the level of satisfaction. And some people just always say, oh, no matter what, I can sleep on a rock. No worries. I'll always get a good night's sleep. Versus other people that they may have a long duration, but the quality of it may not be so good. So these are the dimensions that define your sleep health. And we know that when you have optimal sleep health, that you are in a better position to have optimal general health as well. So we all have these sleep-wake cycles, right? Right now I'm awake, just in case you didn't know, and as I hope all of you guys are too. But when we begin the developmental trajectory of our maturation over our sleep-wake cycling, you're looking at in utero, and that's the furthest part, the left side of the screen, all right? Think of that as the fetal sleep. And fetuses in general spend most of their time in this state called active sleep. And it can be up to 22 hours in a day. And family members, if you have the audacity to feel somebody's belly, or they invite you to feel their belly when they're pregnant, and you feel those little jerky movements, those little kicks for the baby, oftentimes those are active sleep movements. Active sleep is kind of the REM of immature people, and that's the hallmark of that is these sporadic movements. Once babies get to term, they generally, it's like a 50-50 split, right? You spend about 50% of your sleep time, not a 24-hour day, but of your sleep time, 50% is in active sleep, which is a REM-like sleep, and the other 50% is in quiet sleep, which goes on to differentiate into a non-REM sleep. And then, as you progress, and you can kind of see the timeline on the bottom of the graph here, you start decreasing your volume of REM sleep or active sleep, and you start differentiating and increasing your volume of non-REM sleep, juxtaposed to the amount of time that you spend awake. And so one of the things that I find so interesting about this is people ask, and it's cool, this is a cool time, I think, to be in neonatology, because people not only are asking the question, but people are in search of the answer, which is always exciting, is, well, gee whiz, man, we're working in the NICU, how do I know? What state of sleep are they in? When should I wake them up? When should I not wake them up? And that sort of thing. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when we really start diving into the baby. But this is just in general, and most of this is modulated not in the neonatal period, but beyond that neonatal period, it's modulated by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your exposure to light and dark that really facilitates your sleep. And so for grown-ups, particularly shift workers, how many people work nights? I can't put my arm up anymore because I don't do it anymore, but I did for a wicked long time, right? And it's a struggle, right? I remember not knowing how bad I felt until I went on to day shift. And it was kind of like, oh, is this how the rest of the world feels? Oh, my goodness, clarity and all these other things that when I, at least myself, I don't want to generalize, but when I work night shift, I just felt like I was moving through life in a fog, just doing stuff, all the stuff that you have to do, and it was just foggy. And not really understanding how I could change that. But now for shift workers, they're suggesting light showers. Have you guys heard of this? Taking a light shower during your night shift. So you go into the break room with the lights are super bright on, and you stay in there for about 15 minutes, and you give yourself a dose of all this light, and it shakes the cobwebs out of your brain, goes, wake up, it's daytime. And then you can come in and you feel alert for a little while. And actually, in some places, they make these cool glasses that have a rim of light around them so that you're getting light stimulation to the suprachiasmatic nucleus that fakes you out. So you think it's daytime, but obviously it's not. So there are different strategies that you can employ out there, but in general, I think it's really cool and interesting to understand how all of this stuff works. And so as I alluded to, or maybe not, our occupation does have an impact on our sleep health. And so anybody who's a shift worker, okay, not just healthcare professionals, are challenged with this idea of creating these sleep routines and these sleep hygienes that really optimize your sleep. And you may think you've got it nailed, but I'm going to challenge you when I have you do the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Quiz to really write down, be honest with it. I'm not going to collect it. Just be honest with it to determine how many hours of sleep do you get, and do you feel refreshed? Or do you wait and you just zombie through those days? You know how some people say, I like to pack all my shifts together. I'm just going to work 3 or 4 12s in a row, just be a zombie for those 96 hours, and then I'll be fine and I'll wake up, kind of a thing, Think about how that affects not just you, but the quality of service that you bring to the care that you provide. And your family, okay, I'm just saying, all right, your family is in the back seat going, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, all right, she's on a stretch, oh my God, stay low, stay invisible, keep away from her, the thing. So it's not just the families that we serve, right, and each other, right, it's everything. But also what was interesting in the literature was looking at your level of compassion fatigue, compassion satisfaction. And so your vulnerability for burnout also predisposes you to sleep problems, sleep disruptions, sleep deprivation and that sort of thing. So if you're burned out, whether it's from your work or your life is getting you down or all those other kinds, it can go the other way. So it makes you think like the chicken and the egg kind of a thing. Which came first? Am I sleep deprived and that's just setting me up to be all, distressed and bummed out about my work? Or am I bummed out about my work and I'm thinking about it all the time and I'm not able to sleep and all this other kind of stuff? It doesn't really matter. It's a thing. It's a real thing. And so one of the things that this prompted me to start considering is, so I'm working with this group, wicked cool, international, interdisciplinary clinicians on a certification for neonatal trauma-informed care. And what we did was we identified these 8 attributes of the trauma-informed professional. And one of the attributes is about personal wholeness. And that personal wholeness bit is about how do you take care of yourself? Because how you take care of yourself, right, how you are able to fill up your cup really is a measure of your health and wellness, obviously, and your commitment to top-of-license practice. Right? So if you're just dragging and you're doing the zombie nurse kind of a thing, all the time, I mean, and I'm not minimizing this, and I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. I know it's hard. I know all of this stuff is challenging. I totally get it. But I'm just trying to put it out there for you to just kind of the idea of food for thought. Maybe there's a different way. And this idea of personal wholeness and how do I rejuvenate myself, one of the biggest and best ways you can do this is by creating a sleep hygiene routine for yourselves. And that concept of sleep hygiene routine is not just for you as grown-ups, but it's for patients, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So what are some of the things that people do, and just shout it out, what are some of the things that you guys do to help get yourselves ready for bed? Or do you do anything at all? Anybody, you take a shower? A nice hot tub. What else? Brush your teeth, right? Yeah, we have these little rituals that we do. Anything else? Read, yes. Flannel pajamas, right? Anything else? Excellent, excellent. Meditating. Yes, brilliant. Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Anything else? A cup of tea, right? So we have all of these little things. Now I would ask you, do you employ these on a regular basis? Is this a regular routine for yourselves? Because I know for myself, all of the things that you guys said, I love, and they make me feel real snuggly, and I can go to sleep, but I'm not good about doing that consistently for myself. Nor are the families that we take care of, right, families that we serve, because they're in crisis, and so how can we help them kind of start adopting some of these sleep hygiene routines, because we know that their journey is just beginning, right? As their babies are getting ready for discharge, it's just starting for them. So helping them craft this is an important aspect of it too. So it's important to understand where they're coming from as well. What is their daily routine? What are their occupations? How can the information that you're discovering about what works for you be transferred over to them? Oh, gee whiz, huh? Okay, so sleep, and I just looked at my watch. So